What is going on, guys? Welcome back. Some commentary for you, Madden 18. I want to talk about dual stick controls, because when I look back at dual stick controls and I read some of this, and it talks about giving you more control over the ball carrier than ever before, when I take a look at what they said at the time of reviewing highlights of Walter Payton, Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith, they broke down why those players were successful into footwork and body control. And what they wanted to do was give the player an ability where you could go side to side and have a defender react to you, and then take that one step further and adjust whether you were going to cut to the inside, to the outside, whether you were going to truck a player, and give you both analog sticks the ability to set up the defender. And these would be ways that you could have better user control, but also be able to independently operate different players. So when you look at this, it talks about, your hesitation, your kickback steps, talks about Adrian Peterson, players going out that they specifically did this. And obviously they talked about how the ball carrier's attributes, when you read this, would be affected through special moves. The higher the player ratings were, the greater the chance the defender was going to be faked out. This was all in a move really to continue to have the elite players be elite, or at least to get that disparity between your rookie and your veteran. They talk about the lean mechanic, which is actually still in the game, but this is the first time implemented that flicking up on the right stick to try to get the player back in balance. Talks about the locomotion and the canned truck animation, but setting that aside, this is, almost 7 years removed, but they do go through quite a bunch of things here that talk about how realistic this is going to be, even down to the point, and this has kind of been a point of argument with a lot of people, where the stamina during the play of the actual running back, when does that degrade? Doing your spins, doing whatever the case may be, because you see a lot of times in pursuit angles videos I make, people say, well, your player lost his stamina because he did a spin. It's actually ironic when you look at this. It says anytime you're doing a lot of special moves, you're going to be moving at less than top speed, since everyone follows the new acceleration and locomotion, meaning everyone, so the defenders have to get up to speed as well. It does say it will take you time to get back up to your max speed, meaning the case that people say, well, you lost your stamina so you can't get back to max speed, that's not relevant, at least if this is the way they're still coding the game. And then obviously they say the downside is you're collectively losing speed while you're doing all this. And it leaves off with, it gives it a very realistic feel. You scroll down here, they talk about obviously things like, this is going to be the most realistic Madden ever. If you make poor decisions, your player's going to slow down. It feels natural for defenders and obviously more natural for offense. So when you go over to what we have now, you take a look at these gameplay controls. I don't want to use the term button mash. I don't like the term button mash, but I want you to look at the ball carrier moves here. And I want you to notice that really none of these rely on the right stick, apart from things like the standard spin. And it makes me wonder where we devolved away from having that user control in Madden 11 to not having it so much in Madden 18. You don't see that right stick and left stick. You see your bumpers and your right stick. You see your buttons and your right stick. You don't have that quote-unquote stick skill that they promoted back then, where, both of the sticks were going to be utilized in making the running back, or the ball carrier for that matter, be in control of the user. And I know that a lot of people fought that because it didn't really seem to be as natural as the gameplay that we had had before. But to be quite honest with you, there's a lot of things that come into Madden that aren't as quite natural as things that we've had before, such as the passing windows, such as the tackling windows. We adapt to those. But it seems like more often than not with Madden, they'll hype these things that they implement. They'll tell us how it's going to make the game so much better, and whether we don't like it or they don't continue to evolve with it, it doesn't end up continuing in the game, and we ultimately go backwards. This to me shows that since Madden 11, when they're telling us all the great things that we can do with this dual stick control and how it's going to help differentiate halfbacks, we're now in Madden 18. That doesn't play a part in the game anymore, and yet many of us are still having that core argument of, why doesn't Barry Sanders run like Barry Sanders? Why doesn't Walter Payton run like Walter Payton? And yet that's something that they were telling us 7 years ago they resolved. with a system that's no longer in the game. Love to know your guys' thoughts on this. Appreciate you checking out. You know that I'll be back in a week with more commentary.